Hello everyone, I am Divyapreet. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I cleared prelims in 2022 and 2023, but I failed to clear it in 2024. I definitely did not see that coming. It came as a shock to me. Nonetheless, results are beyond our control. What we can do is learn from our mistakes and move forward. So, looking back, I have found some errors from my 2024 attempt. And since prelims 2025 is right around the corner, I thought I'll share those mistakes and those learnings with you so that you can avoid such mistakes in the coming exam. So, let's get into it and see what are the learnings that we can take away from my prelims attempt of 2024. First and foremost is overthinking. A lot many questions get incorrect due to this extra thinking involved. So what my experience was in this particular question, if we see, it said how many of the above activities can radars be used in. Now I easily marked the second and the third option as correct, that monitoring of precipitation and tracking of migration of animals is one of the applications of radar, so it is fine. Now I know that radars use radio frequency, and radio frequency will be useful in identification of narcotics easily. So this was an obvious correct option, but what the error that I made was I over processed the information and thinking that these two are somewhat macro level applications, and this being a micro level application might not be a correct option. So I ended up choosing only two while the correct answer was all three. So just because of one over processing or overthinking, I ended up getting this question incorrect. Similarly, there was another question which was about the Grain Council basically. So the first statement said India is a member of the International Grains Council. The second statement said a country needs to be a member of the International Grains Council for importing or exporting rice and wheat. Now, this second statement I eliminated because just to import or export rice and wheat, it does not seem very necessary to be a member of a particular council. So this statement is actually counterintuitive. So that's why I rejected this directly. Now the question was for choosing whether India is a member of the International Grains Council or not. So if you were to use a general application, or think of it from a generalized perspective, there is no essential harm for India to be a member of the International Grains Council, and it seems very okay. But I ended up making an error of overthinking. How so? Because I thought that why would UPSC give a question where it is asking if it is a member? If India were not to be a member, it will not ask. So maybe this also is incorrect. And thus I ended up choosing option number D, but the correct answer was one only. So if only I would have stuck to the general opinion or to the intuitive nature, then I would have also gotten this question correct. But due to overthinking, missed out on this question. So, what I want to convey basically is that in questions, try to not overthink. Also, do not underthink as well. So your thinking has to be just the exact required amount, whatever is necessary, not over, not under. Next issue which I figured in my attempt was ignoring common sense or application of common sense directly. For example, in this particular question, if you see, statement 1 reads, recently Venezuela has achieved a rapid recovery from its economic crisis and succeeded in preventing its people from fleeing, emigrating to other countries. So, and the statement 2 reads, Venezuela has world's largest oil reserves. So I saw this question and directly eliminated statement 2, thinking that largest oil reserves should somewhere be maybe in the Middle East or somewhere, but not in Venezuela. But the commonsensical thing was that Venezuela has been in an economic crisis, and definitely there was no rapid recovery. So, since I essentially ignored this aspect or missed out on focusing on this element, I ended up getting the question wrong because I chose 1 as correct and 2 as incorrect. But the answer is that statement 1 is incorrect and 2 is correct. Venezuela actually does have world's largest oil reserves, and in fact, I could have also maybe used my knowledge of resource curse. There is something called curse for countries such as Venezuela, even African countries. Despite being rich in resources, these countries are not very developed and are not in a very economically well off state. So from that angle also this could have been solved. So common sense is also very important. Similarly, in this particular question, if you see, it is about a scheme, Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Matritva Abhiyan. So, statement 1 reads, the scheme guarantees a minimum package of antenatal care services to women in their second and third trimesters of pregnancy and 6 months post delivery healthcare in any government health facility. The second statement reads, under this scheme, private sector healthcare providers of certain specialties can volunteer to provide services at nearby government health facilities. So, second statement is a can statement, probable statement, sounds correct only, nothing very problematic in this particular statement. So, I thought of this to be correct. Now, in the first statement, if you see, so I marked here both 1 and 2 as correct, but what is to be given focus on, if you see in this first statement, they have given essentially 3 4 facts. First is minimum package of antenatal care in the second and third trimester. Then the fact is that 6 months post delivery, 6 months post delivery healthcare is also given, and any government facility. So this particular statement has 4 facts being provided to us. 4 facts being correct altogether is a less likely chance. So just by taking a bit of a risk, this could have been eliminated as incorrect. One of these informations, I don't know which one, as per the knowledge I had in the exam, I did not know which one, but one of these could have been wrong, and that's why I could have marked option number 2, which is the correct answer. So, in actuality, this point is incorrect. 6 months of post delivery care is not available. But even if you did not know, you could have thought of that, so many facts in one particular statement, chances are higher that one of these facts is incorrect. So that's why sometimes applying common sense is also important in these questions. The third error which I found in my analysis was not following my intuition or not trusting my gut. So, if you look at this question, longest border between any two countries, do you see this tiny dot? This is the tiny dot I marked in my first reading because intuitively I thought it has to be Canada and USA. But since I was not very sure of it and not very convinced, maybe, so I did not mark, but um, the answer actually is Canada and USA, and thus I lost extra 2 marks in this question just by not following my intuition. So, if you face any such questions where you feel that your gut is telling you something, try to follow that particular intuition. Similarly, in this question, if you see, this is Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mandhan Yojana, and four statements are given. Right. In these four statements, we have to judge which ones could be correct and incorrect. Let's say there is limited knowledge with respect to this particular scheme. So the first statement is entry age group for enrollment in the scheme is 21 to 40 years. Now, 18 is the given age for voting. 18 is the age when people turn into adults. So 21 as a starting age seems unlikely, so this can be eliminated easily. Similarly, if you read this option, age specific contribution shall be made by the beneficiary, a generic kind of statement might be correct. Let's see. Then we, if you see at the fourth option, it says family pension is applicable to the spouse and unmarried daughters. So again, you see that family pension being given to the spouse seems more likely, but why just unmarried daughters? Can sons not be given? So this then becomes a little concerning, and usually in schemes what happens is only the spouse is given the pension further. So this can also be eliminated. So if you erase 1 and 4 from options, we see that B and C are the only two options left. Now, where I went wrong was I read this third statement, each subscriber under the scheme shall receive a minimum pension of 3,000 per month after attaining the age of 60 years. I had somewhere read this figure of 3,000 rupees, and I could recall that this figure is associated with this particular scheme. But I did a little overthinking and maybe not exactly trusted my gut feeling that this has to be the minimum pension. I maybe thought that 60 years would not be the benchmark and ended up considering 3 to be not correct and marked only 2 as the answer. But the answer turned out to be 2 and 3 both. My intuition with respect to this 3,000 rupees pension was correct. So the idea is that if your gut feeling is telling you something, it is coming from your subconscious mind. You might have read something somewhere, and that's why that information is coming to your mind at that particular time. So try to trust your gut feeling and follow your intuition. Next error that I find in my analysis is over reliance on tricks. So you would find a lot of tricks available to solve and eliminate options to solve the questions, and one of those tricks is the method of swap. So this is a famously known thing that UPSC tends to swap information. So if in a statement it has written Buddhism and Jainism, it might have happened that they would have swapped places. Where the information should have been Jainism, they would have written Buddhism. So in this particular question, this was a question about isothermal maps in the month of January. So statement 1 read, the isotherms deviate to the north over the ocean and to the south over the continent. Without thinking much, I just assumed that this would be a case of swap, and marked the question as incorrect, marked the statement as incorrect. And statement 2 was a well known thing actually. Cold currents, presence of cold currents, Gulf Stream and North Atlantic drift make it colder. This is incorrect. These are warm currents. So this was direct information or something that anyone would have remembered. But here, instead of using the knowledge that I had, or instead of actually um, thinking and evaluating whether isotherms bend in the north over oceans and in the south over the continents, I just assumed it would be a swap case, and that's why I chose neither one nor two. But the correct answer is one. If you actually work it out and see how the isotherms would be in January, you would realize that they are actually in the north, deviating towards the north over the ocean and deviating towards the south in the continent region. So tricks have to be used very carefully. Similarly, if I look at this question, it is a question about perfluoroalkyl substances, PFAs particularly. So this is something that I knew of. I knew they were forever chemicals. So I could easily see that PFAs are not easily degraded in the environment, and that's why I marked the second statement as correct. Now, having this information, the third statement also becomes solvable. It says persistent exposure to PFAs can lead to bioaccumulation in animal bodies, which is sounding obvious, and it is logical as well. So that's why third statement also I marked as correct. Now, when we talk about the first statement, I overemphasized on this word widespread. It says PFAs are found to be widespread in drinking water, food, and food packaging material. So, since PFAs are forever chemicals, that means they persist in the environment for a very long period of time. That means they will be available in your drinking water, food, and food packaging material. But a lot many times in these tricks and all, we hear that extreme words have to be avoided, and falling in that particular trap, I thought the widespread word would be an extreme word in this particular case, and thus thought statement 1 to be incorrect and marked 2 and 3, which was the wrong answer. The correct answer is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So one statement is actually correct, and it is logical as well. Why? Because forever chemicals persist in the environment, they have to be there. So the ones that have been in the environment since years and years ago still persist, and they keep getting added on. That means they will be widespread. So I'm not saying, see, that tricks are all bad and you should definitely not use it. In the exam, there were questions that I got correct because of such tricks, but the concern is that use tricks very wisely. First, rely on your knowledge. First and foremost comes your knowledge. Second is your common sense. Then maybe you can use tricks as a last resort. Tricks can be your last resort, but they cannot be substitutes for your knowledge. So that is an essential takeaway from this particular part. Finally, one of the other aspects which I felt in my paper was having a generalist approach. See, UPSC is looking for generalists. We have general studies, and everything is no particular subject apart from your optional requires specialization. So, if they are looking for a generalist, we need to have a mindset of a generalist. We cannot get into the specifications of things and overthink things. We have to look at th- and a general perspective. So let us see what basically I did in this particular question. So it is asking how many of the above are considered distributed energy resources. Now, even if we do not know what this term means, we can break it down and see what is the likely meaning of it. So it is distributed, that means it could be movable or small or something. Energy resources, meaning it generates energy or it provides energy. So amongst these, battery storage units will be a resource for energy. Biomass generators, again these are generators, they are making energy from what? From biomass. So again it will act as an energy resource, distributed energy resource. Fuel cells also provide energy. Similarly, rooftop solar photovoltaic units, they are energy resources, distributed because they can be scattered around, small in size, modular, all of those things. So as per logic, as per a general approach, we can say that all these four options make sense, and thus one should mark all four, which is actually the correct answer. But I happen to mark the answer as only two, thinking that maybe battery storage units or fuel cells, some of one out of these four, a few of them would not be counted as energy resources. So from a general perspective, if you zoom out and look at this question, all of these options seem equally viable, and that's why all four makes the best sense. Similarly, in this question, the question was which of these are financial instruments. So exchange traded fund was an obvious option. It had to be a financial instrument. Motor vehicles would not be a financial instrument. Now the concern for me particularly was in this option, which was currency swap, and I ended up choosing only one as my answer, but the answer is 1 and 3 only. So if you try to go into the nitty gritties of currency swap and think that, okay, currency swap is something between countries maybe, and it involves a lot of specifications, you might end up choosing only one, as did I. But at the end of the day, currency swap is related to finance, and it is about financial integrity. So financial instrument it is indeed. So that's why 1 and 3 becomes the correct answer. And we see that having a general approach to questions help us mark the correct options. So these are few of the errors which people can make while attempting the paper. To avoid such errors, I would suggest that please give your paper with a calm mind. If you get easier questions at the beginning, do not get pumped up and be all excited and feel कि अब तो हो गया clear, आता है हमें सब कुछ, and get hyped up in that particular case. Even if you get easier questions in the beginning, remain humble and calm. If you happen to get difficult questions in the beginning, if you get difficult questions in the beginning, remember that there are 100 questions to read. Do not make judgments about the paper without going through all those questions. Do not lose hope. Do not run to conclusions. Do not make immediate conclusions about whether you are going to clear or you're not going to clear, depending on a few questions that you have answered. Maintain your emotional balance. This is very important in those particular 2 hours. If you can keep yourself emotionally balanced, you will be able to answer questions with clarity. You will be able to think about answers and options with a clear mind. So these are some of the things that you should keep in mind while attempting your prelims paper in 2025. And all the very best. I'll see you in the next one.